million. And of course, if you look at the replacement cost of that particular structure, it's around 23.7 billion. And there was, of course, a lease saving over a period of 10 years that could be achieved through this particular venture to develop 1.6 billion rand that was then estimated. The estimated refurbishment cost that is offset for the refurbishment of the aircon was around 150 million. The funding and acquisition, of course, was joint between the joint venture between the department and the SAPS. Meeting was held at the Office of National Treasury between PWI and the SAPS, and members of National Treasury discussed the possibility of the acquisition, and that was held on the 7th of July 2015, whereby the full purchase price was executed in March 2016 prior to the transfer of the Telkom towers in the name of the state, which was then done on the 7th of April 2016. So therefore, the breakdown of the purchase price was that the lion's share of the purchase came from the SAPS to the value of 143 million rand, and the PWI came with 150 million rand. Any other Africa with the transfer attorneys that did the transfer, and the total cost of the whole process came to it came to 125,000 rand. That was negotiated by the team to facilitate the transfer by the conveyancers. There were issues that we needed to finalize, such as the user charge and the facility management cost, that my colleague have put forward, the deputy commissioner, that needed to be finalized, and the estimated user charge rates were structured in order to recover the capital investment by public works over a period of 10 years. So that was a discounted cash model that was very developed at that time to ensure that the market cap was around 9%. And which things were supposed to be fast-tracked. So those three areas were part of the negotiations. The water capacity management company that conducted, which was Bidvest, was signed on the 6th of November 2015 for a period of a year. That was to ensure that there was a smooth transition and for the SAPS occupation. And the original intention was for the SAPS to start relating to the complex in December 2015, and however, at that moment there was an interruption in the management of the SAPS. So there was a change of leadership at that time. The access to the Telkom tower, as I said, was given on the 15th of 2015 to the SAPS, and the Telkom then through Bidvest handed over the keys to our regional office on the 9th of September 2015. And what happened is that SAPS on the 14th of October 2015, for the purpose of installing the IT, the internal installations, especially the IT part of it, Colonel Leon visited the facility on the 1st of April 2016, And that was the third visit to ensure that the ICT infrastructure was also put in place. It was indicated that in October that there should be a speed takeover of the building by the SAPS, and the task team was then developed to ensure that there was continuous engagement. And keys were also handed over to the SAPS on the 10th of December 2015. Chair, there was this incident that happened during those times. Given that SAPS was being given unprotected access on the 1st of September 2015 to the purpose of preparing the facility, the SAPS appointed the ICT service providers, Infrasol and the EOA to prepare the building for SAPS administration. And on 2015 October, it was then discovered by the facility management and our team that there were items missing now. Then they started the beginning of the process of vandalism. And in December, then cable depths were starting to disappear. And given that there was already an IT company into the facility, it was then difficult to see when these cables were taken and to monitor those issues. However, two suspects were then apprehended and they were charged at the Central Police Station in Pretoria. Another incident happened on the 23rd and 28th of September. The historians executive know the cables were being historians. They were told that the cables were being replaced as part of the IT infrastructure. So in December, again, there was a meeting between the head of MTE and the Pretoria General Office in the SAPS where with their policies provided regarding that. So the issue there then became part of the discussions. And 7 separate properties tools were reported stolen, and on the 20 separate several items were removed from Tower South, and those issues were reported to the police. Unfortunately, in March 2016, a service provider member from one of the service providers, EOH, was arrested in possession of some of these cables. So these are some of the issues that really had an impact in terms of the migration. So the third also had an impact in terms of complying with the COC and ensuring that the outstanding matters were addressed. But in line with the agreement and the offer to purchase, the retirement fund was to supply the updated electrical component certificate to the purchaser. Telkom was committed to do that and ensure that all those facilities were in good condition as per the lease agreement. However, it was indicated that on 29th September that the contractor will be on site for approximately 3 weeks and until the 30th of October 2015. And then that part of that was to restore the air conditioning system to its original functioning, because when they moved out, it was shut down and it was then affected. And what happened in is that I will skip this one because it's part of the event. But what happened is that one local consulting company was appointed by Telkom to conduct the COC and repair the soft start for air conditioning system, because the air conditioning system was the major one. However, when they did that check, they discovered that quite a number of cables have been missing and have been compromised. That itself had an impact in terms of the overall refurbishment of the facility to ensure that the SAPS was able to move back. Among those were electrical work. Generally, they were in good condition at the beginning, but the earth cables have been stolen. Mechanically, the HVAC, the air conditioning that was supposed to be restored, picking parts, cooling towers, were all in good condition. However, the cabling that was stolen then made it difficult for Telkom Towers to repair the air conditioning, because the supporting infrastructure was already compromised. Many parts of the fire panel due to removal cables and cabling which had been removed, and effects on it had an effect in terms of ensuring that the building management system, the lifts and the air conditioning were also functioning, because it had already been compromised. Also, the compromise on the system. It also compromised on the security. Some of the CCTV cameras were removed. The environmental system could not work, and then that is how then the entire cabling infrastructure system compromised the migration at that time. The migration process was then interrupted when the service management changed their track in terms of said, roster of the cables, network cables, building management components, HVAC controllers, IT security, building management, air conditioning, and all of those could not operate as a result of the third cable. And as a result, they could not provide the updated COC by the seller. On the 26th of October 2023 and 2023 November, on 20 November 2023, an MI notification in terms of the issue for the under-the which was issued to the department, and PMT action then to respond to the material quality was then developed. On the 28th of February, then Minister instructed management to institute an investigation on the procurement and circumstances leading to the state of the facility to date. Again, on the 2nd of October 2024, Minister Dilma Tristan conducted an oversight on the Telecom Towers and city buildings, including the North Tower. The Minister then called for the appointment of independent probe on Telecom Towers. The report should detail who to them and what will be the best solution moving forward for Telecom Towers to meet further wastage of taxpayers' money. Chair, the North Tower, where my colleague referred to, that is moved in around October 2020. I must say, I will just quickly go through. We did appoint a facility management company in that particular tower in January 2024. However, what happened is that in this year, again, there was a provision notice issued by the Department of Labor. However, what happened to the tower before the SFS moving chair? I will quickly address. The department appointed DBSA to do the capitalization of the refurbishment of the Northern Tower, and the value of $100 million was spent throughout that. And in October 2021, 2022, then the SFS moved in with an understanding that the facility was ready, and unfortunately, as the Senator agreed that the peace state was withdrawn. Again, this year, the Department of Labor issued a provision notice on the 26th of February 2024. I must indicate that the provision notice made reference to issues such as the lighting, such as the mechanical system with regard to ventilation, network issues, and also fire equipment that were not in compliance with, and the valid certificate of occupation for fire and also emergency exits, as well as the youth installation cables which were not allowed in the standard for connections and general administration regulation. These issues, Chair, as the Department of Labor issued the provision notice, the DG from Public Works called an urgent meeting with the Police Commissioner. We had a meeting here, and we presented our action plan to address those issues. We also offered, Chair, I must say it upfront, we offered to the SFS to provide them with alternative accommodation. We had to do our procurement process, and therefore we came to a conclusion that they will be accommodated as agreed. Where then we agreed, we took the team there, everybody was satisfied. However, the needs assessment of the Department of SFS had to be submitted in order for us to finalize that particular interim or alternate accommodation. Chair, we have been dealing with that issue with SFS back and forth, and unfortunately, I must say it is not our fault that they are working at all. I must be upfront. We provided the facility, is there, we even added the space that was supposed to be occupied by the Department of Higher Education and Learning, which they did not occupy, which we have procured through the procurement system. So that is what we need from SFS is to give us their final needs assessment so that we can finalize that accommodation. We even made an offer to say Public Works would then take the bill in terms of that accommodation process. So again, we had to also institute announcement on our part as to how it happened that there was a provision notice that was not addressed from the beginning. That part the DG is working on. But the offer is there to that we could have accommodated SAPS at that time. And at the moment, Chair, I must say, 99% of the issues in the North Tower have been addressed. What has not been addressed is not part of the provision notice. Are things that the current facility management team is working on to address. However, now we need to have a meeting, which we agreed with my colleagues, to sit down and address these issues as so that we are on the same page in understanding as to what caused the delay in terms of the opportunity assessment, the needs assessment, and how do we then move forward in terms of the temporary allocation as well as the migration back to telecom towers, if that is going to be happening. We are willing to work. These are issues we are prepared to take up. I must also indicate, Chair, before I conclude on the presentation, we have developed as part of the team a proposal that we are currently going to be presenting to the Minister going forward, and in terms of how do we see the future of telecom towers. We have set up a team through the DG's office that is working in terms of the future use of telecom towers. It's a state facility. It can't be left unattended in perpetuity. And in our next meeting, we can present those proposals that we are making forward as part of our turnaround plan for telecom towers. We will also engage SAPS to see whether we can have a common ground, because they are one of the highest lease owners in the city, and we want to reduce that. The minister has been clear that we want to reduce that particular. We want to reduce that particular private lease portfolio and migrating them into the state facility. That is our mandate that we seek to achieve. Honorable Chair, thank you.
I think we are seated. Now I'm taking them. Members, all of you want to speak. 3 minutes each. Bear in mind that the aging annual report and 3 minutes. That we are going to be a timekeeper, and we usually do start with your time. All of you are going to speak. None of you, I don't need hands. And remember, when we engage on the issue of the two buildings or complex that we're going to visit, it's not yet finalized. They were just giving us the overview. Then we'll have a special meeting again. Don't get into too details, because they were giving us what we must go and look and try to check. So I don't want you to get agitated with the two, but we will rather focus on the AG and the annual report, but at the same time, engage with us. The story that's turned around to me. And maybe what I must ask, Span, your question must just be yes or no.
What's your name, Jay?
According to your report, if I understood it very well, it must have been yes or no. They're telling us we've completed the project. It was a delay of subs to come and occupy. Then you had issues of vandalism, theft, and everything. Then it took you back. Then you are starting afresh. Is that what I captured or not? Yes or no? Then we stop there.
Yes, we did a level of 95%. Thanks.
Thank you. Colleagues, you got that? Maybe I'm glad for the next time, not now. I just wanted that clarity. Don't do that. I'm not going to. We are managing time. Members, I said 3 minutes, and that 3 minutes goes to 27 minutes. You have 30 minutes decide. There's 30 minutes to respond. Then we're different. We want to go to the main, then the complex. The rest, you still have an opportunity to question when we are. I left you with your 10K. Can you show me? Then you'll be the first one. The second one, or must be changed today for the second part.
I think I'm very biased.
I'm going to manage time.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's not said it won't be nice if I stop you. I'm going to do that. Radio that colleagues wait. I'm still giving you. Remember the 80s report. You made it to 2 presentation because they made it hard. There's no way. You're going to start writing. SIPO you will follow. Can you write down who to follow? I'm not going to come back again. That will be the first one. Nasawa will be the second one. You will be the third. Then the fourth is Malebu, Kobe, and the fifth one will be Bath. The sixth one next to you, but then Mango, you follow. The last one will be Telanga. In that order. Thank you. Timekeeper start. 3 minutes. If he has exceeded, indicate we are going to stop.
Thank you, Chair. We heard in the capacity workshop that clean audits without developmental outcomes is unethical. So the aim is not necessarily to get a clean audit, but to ensure that we have proper developmental outcomes. And sadly, from the report that we've had neither of the two. We're getting bad audits and no proper developmental outcomes. Chair, we have 2 clean audits, but key audits of PMT and IDT and the parliamentary villages remain incomplete. These delays are alarming, especially when there are clear risks that are involved. The fact that the department only achieved 59% of its targets is unacceptable. Unacceptable. We are not here to make friends with you. We are here to get the work done because we have a responsibility on behalf of the citizens of South Africa to ensure that the money that they're spending in this department through their taxes is being well spent. Key projects are being delayed or cancelled. The minister said that he wants South Africa to be a construction site. We can't manage 390 or so projects with an estimated value of 17 billion rands. They are to be cancelled or they are installed. How do we explain this to South Africans who are waiting for services? We are talking about schools here. We're talking about hospitals and other infrastructure that our communities desperately need. The root of the problem is poor project management, lack of coordination, and failure to hold contractors and senior officials accountable. Contractors who have repeatedly failed are still being hired by this department. This is not just incompetence, it's neglect of the highest order. Chair, furthermore, financial mismanagement remains a major concern. Irregular expenditure, wasteful spending, and unresolved material irregularities have caused significant financial losses. What's worse is that there seems to be little urgency in addressing these issues. We hear this time and time and again. We went through previous reports, previous discussions, and previous implementations. It's almost like a repeat. Chairperson, This department has to stop with its excuses, and the excuses must stop now. We need real consequences for non-performance. That's why I asked, where's the nearest change? The previous minister, now moving to the last presentation, the previous minister, I think it was Minister Sikalala, Tishri Sikalala, he asked for a forensic investigation into telecom towers in February 2024. We have been through these reports as the team, the report that was presented here. Where is that forensic report? Where is the forensic report that was requested by the previous minister? If there's an official here who has failed to follow through an instruction by the minister, that official must hand in the resignation now, or we hold an official solely liable for the losses incurred at telecom towers. I thank you.
Close the mic. As you put down.
Greeting once more. Let me quickly get into my questions so that I can not be caught by time. The first one, I want to check with the Auditor General whether do you have any comment on the 13.7 billion owed by the Trade Department? Or any ways that the Auditor General can use to assist the department to recap the money owed to the department. Number two, I want to check from the Auditor General on consequence management, whether there are no any other ways of enforcing consequence management, rather than having findings and recommend to the same department to perform consequence management on their own mistakes or their doings. Then I want to check whether the Auditor General does not have a detailed report on a project that was or a detailed investigation, apart from the SIU investigation, but your own investigation on the building of the telecom tower. But Chair, what I've noted that from both reports, there are names or there are words that frequently comes in the report. And the first word is the word of delays. We get use of accepting our mistake that we listen. We even give reasons why we fail to implement our projects. And delay is becoming a reason. That because of delay, that's why there are material irregularities. Because of delay, that's why there are irregular payments whatsoever. So the issue of attaining of the irregularities, of the material irregularities, you explained that it was because of cancellations of project. There's a 4 billion project that was cancelled. Not knowing why, when the project restarted, when you arrived, when you spent almost 4 billion, then you cancel the project. And there's no explanation why you cancel the project. And the project will lead to material irregularity. Or the overpayment, the also overpayment of suppliers. Why do you overpay a supplier? It's by mistake or it's by deliberation. Because you said this bottle, it costs 1 rand, but now you're paying 5 rand for this bottle. Then it leads to what challenges that we have. But the problem that I've noted, there are no consequence management. And we rely on the department or whosoever to institute investigations based on mistakes that are committed by us. On the issue of telecom tower, I don't want to comment much. Because the issue of telecom tower, it shows that there are many problems. From its inception, because what I needed to check the study that was done at the beginning, whether it was the true reflection of what is happening, whether the building indeed it was like that in the beginning when it was purchased, or even the building it relates, it is equal to the value of the building is equal to what it was done there. And I don't understand why you buy the building from me tomorrow, you send you release it back to me, you send it back to me. I buy the building from you, then you release it back to me. Within days, few days. That's why I don't understand their problems. And if we don't have a report or an investigation that tells us from the inception if you're going to go there, it can't be that we fail to resolve the problem for 8 years. And when you arrive, when you arrive for 8 years, and I'm not even sure that the 8 years, why they are not occupying the building. Why they are not occupying the building from the first day, from the first day,
No, thank you. I'm just worried hearing the report. I hate reports because they reflect, they tell us what happens. And I'm more interested in what do we need to do or what are we actually doing. We're 100 days now into this tenure. I'm not hearing solutions. And I was hoping that that's where we would go. So internally, I'm worried that we're not monitoring the whether it's we heard in the report yesterday that we don't have capacity within the department to monitor projects, to manage, because when you look at the situation, for instance, of 56% of projects that have been delayed, it boggles the mind how we get what lessons are we learning? If we have 10 projects, surely we must have learned lessons from the first and the second, so that by the time we get to the third and the fourth and the fifth, we've learned lessons and something is being done. It looks like that is not happening today. And perhaps our monitoring regime is not helping us. And so it speaks to them how do you lose 17 billion, which is supposed to go into 70 billion, into helping society, which is what we're here for. I think sometimes we get bogged down in these numbers and terminology and so on and so forth. We forget that the main purpose is to deliver service to the people. And as public servants, it really needs to come back to us as a priority. There's so many issues that we still need to deal with. So we're not regulating the industry because we're bogged down in these little details. The industry is in disarray. The built environment is in disarray, completely not regulated. Because we're sitting down in tables and discussing these little details of telecom, corruption, this, that. We need to get back to the overarching purpose. We don't have a plan. We don't have a 20-year plan. Oh, but ma'am, I'll just close by saying that we need to go back to understanding why we're here. And I think we tend to lose that. Thank you.
You know, the culture of us, you come after me, and it's only 30 minutes.
I'm tired of
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chair. I think being relatively young and being excited to be on this portfolio committee, I'm extremely disappointed with it. And I'll tell you, we had the AG come up, and then we had SAPS come up, and we also had the DPWI come. And I think the common denominator that we have, the common problem that we have right now, is the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure. The AG has reported that there is lack of consequence management. They are not keeping a finger on the pulse, and hence they're seeing so much material irregularities. SAPS also came and they said that we have gotten our end of the agreement, and it was a very succinct presentation, I must admit. Thank you so much for that, because they said, this is how much we paid, this is how the transaction went, and this is where we were failed. And I tell you what, I think the devil is in the details, because when the Department of Public Works came, specifically PMTK, it seemed as though the details that they were giving us were just to make us lose our track in the transaction. It should have also been high level, should have just said, this is how much we're given, this is what we have done, and this is how far we are. We don't need to know that the key was given on the 26th of February. We need to know why the SAPs still pay over R1 billion, why they have incurred costs of over R1 billion, and why they still continue to pay monthly leases, and why they still scattered around Pretoria. It is unacceptable, because these are public monies that are spent, and we must get value for money. The Department of Public Works and Infrastructure needs to take some sort of accountability and not tell us about plans. They have told us, I mean, even with the delays of the project, our chairperson, with the delays of the projects, they've lost a lot of money. I can tell you now, there was a particular one in Limpopo where they have lost 3.4 million. And it's a particular interest for me because I'm from Limpopo. The education system there was delayed because of this delay. Now, the telecom towers, why were they not safeguarded? Why was there so much theft? And they also said that the reason that the project in Limpopo as well has lost so much money is because there was theft. There was no safeguarding. For me, the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure is failing their client departments. When you come to us, the portfolio committee, and ask us to support you so that clients must pay back the monies, we aren't getting the full story. Right now, we at least have a client who can give us a rendition of their story. And we need the department to be honest. We will support you. This is not a gotcha exercise. When we are working here as a portfolio committee, we want to ensure that these two arms of government work together so that there is transformational value for the people of South Africa. But it's not being done because someone is trying to run away with the money. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Mine is not more on questioning somebody or seeking clarity from somebody. I joined Parliament in June this year. I became a member of this committee around August, if I remember correctly. When I joined this committee, I did not fully understand the powers, the political powers that one has in terms of making sure that there is transformation. But since I've realized the powers that one has, we will make use of those powers because clearly somebody is not doing what they're supposed to do. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So we will make sure that job that needs to be done, what needs to be done, is being done. That I can assure you. Some of us have got background in administration, so we know whenever a particular task is not being carried out, it just tells you that there is an administrative problem in that. Somebody is not doing what they're supposed to be doing. I'll make an example. I'll put it this is kuthiwa kunemali u-4 billion elahlekile unama-claims and stuff. Kunento ekufanele siyazi ekuzofanele ukuthi I'm glad that the Deputy Minister of Police is here. He's going to assist us because we need the protection, obviously. It was zothi abantu labangathanda kunemali kunomkhuba omubi owenzakala la ophela khona nama-10. Yes, it's true. Some contractors may not they don't know what they're doing. It's true. But in some other cases, if you're running a business, you need land of cash flow. Now, ama-contractors akhala ukuthi siyawahambisa ama-invoice, kodwa asikhokhelwa. Isizathu sokungakhokhelwa hayi ngoba bengawenzi imisebenzi hayi ngoba ushada ama-documents. I-problem kunama-officials corrupt la athi asizokukhokhela ungasinikezile some kickbacks, asizokukhokhela ungasinikezile imali and bavesane basho imali abayithanda and ngesikhathi imali ingakhokhiwe umsebenzi ngaphansi kwemina ekugcineni kosuku the next project esenzeni kanjalo. So sizokushayela phansi ke lokho sikulungise. We'll have to get the reports because kuyacathana nokuthi kusho ukuthi i-reporting system ngaphakathi kwi-department ngashayela and also the sorry.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I want to start off just by addressing the AG and just thanking the AG for the good work that it does and how it helps us to reflect on the performance of the department. I must say that we must commend the CIDB for improving its audit outcomes, and we can start there. But it is very disappointing that we are here today without an ability to reflect on the performance of PMTE and the various other entities. I think, Chairperson, and I've written to you, I think this committee must take a firm resolution to request the department to adhere to the recommendations from the Auditor General. The recommendations are very similar this year around to the way that they were last year around. So I think that is a recommendation or resolution that we should take. Chair, the second point that I want to make, I think you saw some very big numbers in the reports today, and this is directed at the PMT. What is the department doing about sourcing capable contractors? We saw it in the AG's report that the root cause of these projects being delayed and being cancelled is as a result of these contractors that are being appointed. So that is the question that I'm asking. What is being done to tighten the way that contractors are appointed or evaluated for their ability to deliver? Chairperson, then moving on to my third point, I noted the presentation around precincts. My question is really around, also directed to the PMT, my question is around space norms. I want to understand whether the department has, or when last the department reviewed its occupational norms and standards. You have people occupying 30 square meters per desk, which obviously translates into a massive need for office accommodation. I can say that in the Western Cape and in international best practice, that number is down to about 8 square meters per desk, but we are trying to source too much office accommodation. That is the next question. I also want to understand from the department its relationship with SAPS. We know that the department is a custodian of immovable assets, but it seems that a lot of custodianship or mandate has been delegated over to SAPS. SAPS has its own facilities management, they're sitting here, they do their own procurement, they also do their own construction and in various cases facilities management. So I just want to understand where that relationship lies. I then also wanted to ask about what is happening between the coordination at head office and your regional offices. We saw a very scary slide with lots of red flags, where it seems that your regional offices are not aligning to head office. And I think that speaks to consequence management again. And maybe I should ask the DG and the senior managers that are sitting here, are you guys afraid of your staff? Why can't you take action against these underperforming staff members that you have? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chair. By saying we are concerned with the reports that was sent to us last night by the department. We are really appealing to the department that they must take us very seriously. But they can't send us the report last night expecting that we must participate in the morning. This now come to an end. Chair, I think my colleagues has covered names on the number of issues, especially on the procurement issue of the number of delayed projects by the service providers that are impacting negatively to the community because campus is delivered. Second to that, there's overspending that was raised by the Auditor General. I mean, overpayment of the suppliers by the department. And there's nothing that we are hearing that was done by the department. It comes back to the issue of the consequence management that is not done by the department. And we are appealing to the department to deal with it. There's a lack of monitoring of projects. In advocate monitoring that is led by the project managers. And indeed, the department must do something with it. We can't speak one and say the other. Lack of consequences management. It's not happening in the department. But wrong things are keep on happening. There are service providers that are doing poor performance. Nothing is happening. The Auditor General recommended that the action plan by the department must be submitted to the department order so that we can monitor the implementation. Can you really get that as the committee? Incomplete projects, Madam Chairperson, I think it's concerning us as the committee as well. And this requires a meeting between the minister, the DTG, and the accounting officers in the portfolio committee order to deal with it. Other than that, there's nothing that's going to happen. So we put that saying, we keep it. On the telephone towers, that one is too much storage. And as a result, we don't know what to say. But what we can say is that the meeting between the two departments is needed just so that they can deal with these issues. Because there are a lot of contradicting statements in their presentation. So please, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chair. I think we've done a proper diagnostic of the issue, so I'm not going to continue to diagnose. But I think it would be important to start to think what needs to be done. Minister, I think being a new minister, relatively new DG, there is a need for an emphasis and tone and tone in terms of issues of implementation and execution, and focusing on strengthening contract management and project management capacity, and bringing in those engineers and those skills so that you're able to manage your contractors appropriately. It also seems to me that if you spend 99% of your budget, but you only achieve 59% of your key performance areas, you either underestimated the contracts, or you are going to be getting into operation order territory. And that is a very bad place to be at. You need to make sure that you've got the internal controls in place in order to make sure that you comply. There also seems to be a lot of alibis. If you don't manage alibis, if you just agree to the alibis, it will then lead to the lack of consequence management. I think alibis need to be thrown out of the window so that you can move forward. We are happy to hear that the bookkeeping seems to be good in terms of financial management, but it's probably good because the activity is very low in the department. So there is a need to prioritize, according to the AG, the MTSF priorities are not being followed up, and they don't make their way to the action plan of the department. If there's no alignment in terms of that, you're not going to achieve what you need to achieve. So it's important for you to look at your order to execution and see how best to deal with that, especially also dealing with the processes and systems that need to be dealt with. And then you have an issue of repeat offenders, contractors who have caused you a lot of delays and have actually caused cancellation, but they're still on your system. You need to replace them. It's very important that when we next meet, you must tell us how many contractors you've blacklisted because they've been problematic in the past, and you can no longer continue to work with them going forward. It's going to be very important that you indicate that. So I will leave it at that for now. Just a few to-dos.
Hey, thank you so much, Chair. Chair, let's start by saying that as the portfolio committee, we got the message from the AG. We got the message. Area that we have to focus on. The first area, I'm going to start with the Minister and the DG. Is this question of getting late getting report data. The question I want to put, how can you feel, Minister? We are having a meeting at 8 o'clock the following day, and to get report at 8. Okay. So very clear. The other area that is quite concerning is on the telecom towers. And he says what is to be done. And that I'm also schooled from the School of Total. Great problems, giving back great stage. And unfortunately, the solution must come from here, not us. I think what needs to be done is very simple. But we change all of the members, the right to people with aid. A lot has happened. We need to get a report on the progress of the forensic investigation that was signed by the previous minister. The first point. 2, there must be a meeting between the two departments to have a shared approach on the matter. Thirdly, going back to the very same forensic investigation, I think we need to have an independent forensic investigation, either AG or any independent body, not SARS, not hardworks, so that we can get at the bottom of this matter to the matter. Minister, this investigation also must get in detail on the question of the usage of private accommodation as opposed to the usage of government buildings that are provided to government. So there's a lot of resources that get lost in that process. Unfortunately, this issue of leadership is a painful exercise. You correct the wrongs by making what is supposed to be right to the right. The last issue I want to speak to Chair is this question of the outstanding information. PMT and ITP, incomplete audit. These numbers I think what needs to be done is simply that it's very concerning. And all these contain dependencies that must be noted. And there is a need to speed the completion of this process. As we can even almost not complete our BRR because of this. But what I'm going to do in the moment, we are going to have to meet every quarter with the minister and authority officer and to get a report about what happened. Thank you so much.
So, I guess we are left my right hand side. Before I put it through, you're going to share the 30 minutes amongst yourself. I don't know how you're going to focus, but you only have 30 minutes to respond on my right hand side. It's a genuine arrangement. We're going to focus. And yes. As a member of the committee, being the chair, I will have 2-3 questions or concerns. One, the AG is said to the report, if you have captured it correctly, all infrastructure needs are not managed by the department. And your mandate as a department, it's public works and infrastructure. Then what does it say? You are unable to execute your duties in the department. Maybe in the next meeting, you must tell us how you planning to turn around this underlined statement. The parliamentary village boards have taken note of that AG. I will be part of assisting as the chair of the committee. I'll meet with the Honorable One, the one who deals with members' interest in Parliament, and get the dates. While DT will be assisting, maybe you've got the dates, but I'll put it upon myself to fast track the process, which is really, it can be correct for 10 years. It means from the fifth administration, sixth administration, now we are only 7 months. There's nothing reported on. I believe Minister and the GM, the two of you, it's unlike ministers who have been appointed without knowing the processes of parliament and the importance. But you have served in committees. You understand how to operate. You understand the mandate of being a member and what is your role before you become executive. So we are requesting you to follow that. Don't forget what you did before you became executive. Try to respond and submit a report in time. I believe even yourself, Minister, when you were an ordinary member or a member of the committee, you could not take it. Therefore, we request that. I'm happy because I'm talking to members who have been in Parliament before they become executives. I'll give it a waiver to those who have never been in Parliament but just became executive. They must not understand the processes of Parliament. DG, I don't know whether you get a template from monitoring and evaluation and your KPIs, the way it was reflected, remember, the department met more than 200% of its KPIs, but on the ground with the mandate that they're supposed to, they're not delivering. But KPIs, they've overachieved on paper. But one thing that I can tell you today is that the past 3 days, we had to engage, we were capacitated to understand it must not be on paper. It must touch the lives of South Africans. What is on paper? It must correspond with the change that we're doing to South Africans. at large. The KPIs, when you see them, it tells you, to me, it just gives me the understanding that each and every municipality or each and every village, they don't have a problem of access to roads. The well-physio bridges have been implemented all over because we have achieved more than 200% of your KPIs. So, if your KPI tells us we've achieved more than what we have targeted, therefore we must not have a problem of water because we have a role to build the infrastructure of water. We have a role to build schools in different provinces. Do we have that as a country? No. But with KPIs, maybe you must revisit and talk to when you engage in nautical committees, the template does not speak to the service delivery issues. It only speaks to yourself in the offices. And why should we present it to us? Because our interest is to change the lives of the South Africans. It does not. So I'm afraid to say, you know, when we see it, we are just creating. But I think it's because of your template that we are given. When I moved to SARS, I'm a bit disappointed because, or maybe you will respond. Between 2001 and 2004, when you were being given keys and all this stuff, what was your role there? You just told yourself, because it's DPWI's responsibility, you did not even try to secure your place. You allowed criminal activities to happen, and you are nuts. Unless otherwise, we're not getting the story right. You just allowed vandalism, things that South Africans are crying about across the country. And you are the ones who must prevent that. It happens within your territory. But together with this question, PMTE, what are the processes of the purchasing process? When you are purchasing a complex, then later, how do you follow the handover process? Because really, it means you did not hand over. That's what I'm saying. Come in and try to explain what happened, because there's a missing link. Or it was done deliberately, so that it must be part of what was supposed to be in the commission of inquiry there. On my own, the story is the same as what happened for SAA. Telecom Tower stories is the same. The way they're explaining it here, you purchased, you sold out the Airbuses, then later you leave them ready. And you took that thing to say you must go to Zondo Commission, or that is Zondo Commission, or the state capture. Why this part was not taken to the state capture commission? Because it's the same. And the timeline is the same. You purchase the building, you will then allow the same people that you have purchased from to buy it back and leave a certain area again. What is the story? In the period when you say you have handed over to SARS, the criminal elements that happened there, no one, you are not being taken as the cases and all this stuff, but it's just business as usual. What must happen here? Let's be honest. And South Africans are watching, and look what they need. They need more money to get services. And we are playing with this money. So I really feel like maybe we must also request the Zondo Commission to chip in your story. Because we might not have that opportunity, but I want to agree with the Honorable Velanga that we need a special forensic, not from your department, DM, not from your department minister, but it must be an independent one. And it must kickstart. It must kickstart. One will be waiting for what has been recommended. It's an internal arrangement of the forensic. We're waiting for it, but this one is part of our highly recommendation as a committee. Whoever wants that with it must kickstart. One will be busy dealing with other issues. I have a lot, but I choose not to. You, Salvacor, members missed the part of Salvacor. I did not even hear it. It's only back who spoke. I don't understand what is the objective. What is it that you want to achieve with Salvacor? Because you explained better to say when you made the decision to go to Telecom Towers complex, you wanted to house subs in one place so that you must minimize leases and all the stuff. We understand what was the vision behind. But then Salvacor, you missed that point. And it has a lot of role players. You are putting in one that we never thought maybe they were supposed to be here to tell us a few issues. You missed ISA. ISA is not here. There are a few issues that we want to understand from ISA. So you just gave us a blank check, but we are fine. We can move with it when we arrive to Salvacor. But I really, even committee members, I believe you don't get what is the mission behind, the objective of Salvacor. What is it that you want to achieve? If it's a model that you want to be done, implemented in all different provinces, we did not talk about that. And how is it going to minimize or going to benefit government? We never spoke about that. The invocation of occupational certificate. I'm not a technocrat. I don't get it. You 1 minute you are given a certificate to occupy, 1 minute is revoked. Who issues? You, when you explain this one, it's labor as well. So I don't understand. Maybe Twan said evoke, we are invoking it. You remain there, you continue. Non-subs. You stay in a place where they said you must move out. You wait for labor to enforce you. Right. What was happening? And I want to question you, honorable members, and all of you. When you arrive in the office, be it you have a bad day, accept it. Don't put a blame, take responsibility. That flight that spoke and told us about the reappear, it must not come back, not in this committee. Take responsibility. Don't tell us when management changes, when politicians changes, and it's a lame excuse. Yes, tomorrow they might withdraw me and say, yeah, you are to go to the next committee. Then you want to tell us you're not going to proceed with the progress. It's not about an individual, it's about the program and the processes that must happen. Don't touch resolution implementation. We are running government. And I believe even the minister will move on. You're not going to start by saying, now in my time I'm not going to do this. There are processes, there are plans that were adopted. Let's proceed with them. What should it be about us individuals? It's a problem. The minute you start to tell us when there's a change of politicians, when we change the pattern, when there's a choose. Let's take responsibility, please. I'm raising this because while infrastructure. So it was recommended, it was a legacy report. And we want to tell you, we are leading by example. The legacy report that we got from the 6th administration, it has recommended us to have a capacity building quickly so that we must deal with issues and things that are not going right in the country. And every board, every department depends on DPWI to be housed. You've got houses all over that are dilapidated. Everything is about DPWI. And we said to ourselves, we are not going to stand up and say we must start our own program. We are following what was left behind. Why can't you do that? Technocrats and executives. If it's a mandate, even yourself, you have a role to advise the executive when they enter in the offices. So these are the programs. But if you can advise them, don't feel like you don't have plans, then they will redirect and change. The reason why we are here today and we're going to play oversight on Selcom and Telkom Towers, it was a recommendation of the previous committee, the 6th administration. There's nothing wrong, but we want to proceed and try to do our work. So with that few remarks, I'm a bit disappointed, even though I want to applaud you, TG. You've managed to address issues that were raised by the AG, almost 90% of them. Keep it up, but try to deal with issues that will impact the lives of South Africans. You may start. The AG, you can start responding. How you're going to manage time, I don't know, but we've got 30 minutes, all of you. AG will start. The department will follow, then allow SAT to respond. And within these 30 minutes, members, we must go to the oversight. And we only have an hour to visit the 2 sites. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and to the members of the committee for their input. Let me start off by saying it's very clear that for a long time things have been done in a way that have not yielded results for this department. That is obvious. And so it is critical, in fact, it would be irresponsible of this department not to review, reimagine, and rethink the way it approaches both the public works component and the infrastructure component that are with it. And that is currently underway, so that we are able to follow and present a credible program that puts this department back on course to be able to deliver good services, be able to lead a national infrastructure program, and be able to account for every cent that is given to us. I want to say that Telkom Towers represents everything that has gone wrong over the last few years. And let me say, members, that there are many Telkom Towers across this country. It is an example of poor financial control, an inability to complete projects, non-project management, illogical procurement, and further irrational procurement. And we have to ask ourselves some serious questions around, did we even need to buy it to begin with? Was the purchase price ever justifiable? And the Minister of Police and myself will be meeting soon to decide also how we need to approach things in the interim. And then we also need to be very clear that the reports that present to you are from 2023 to 2024 financial years, but they represent a learning curve and what doesn't need to be done if we want to change the trajectory of this department. Because it does require deep structural reform, and this, I will be honest with you, will be solved overnight. We have to create a sustained pathway to service delivery excellence, and to audit outcome. That's why I have tasked the department, particularly under DDG Maflangu, to develop a roadmap to audit outcome sustainability, as well as to advise on how we deal with all of these delayed projects, and that there are consequences for non-compliance and for officials who do not want to get on board. There must be consequence management for non-performance. This is non-negotiable. It is evident to me, as executive, that the PMTE IDT require intense scrutiny. It is not acceptable to me or to the department management that financials were not submitted on time. And let me say for the record that when they are submitted, it will not change material facts that they will not be qualified, that they will be qualified with serious material findings. But let me tell you what we have done to remedy the situation. We are going to be working with the Auditor General to ensure that we are on a path to sustainable audits. We will be conducting live auditing in departments, so we will not wait until the problem has manifested at the end of the financial year. We will pick it up there and then and deal with it. We will start producing interim financial statements so that we are able to pick up issues where we go. I have also stepped up internal controls to restructure the way that payments are done, and that officials will not have the free rein to spend up to 20 million rand without authorization. That's what previously happened in this department. You will now have to get someone from the accounting officer to do so. I welcome the suggestion by the Auditor General and the Portfolio Committee to produce quarterly progress on implementations of our plans, and we will do that. We also must make sure that we start digitizing in this department. It is unacceptable, and corruption is allowed to foster where there is paper everywhere. Things get lost, they take extraordinary amounts of time, documents get changed. And so we will be implementing a digitization program. I want to say that one of the first things I did when I came into this department is recognize that telecom towers represented a far bigger problem, as I had said. And that's why, Chairperson, in August, we had announced an independent investigation, forensic investigation, into telecom towers that would determine its entire history, where the due process was followed, how the transaction took place, whether there were other suitable buildings that could have been used, determine whether the department's procurement policies, procedures, and guidelines were followed through, whether officials or any other person contravened laws or duties related to the transaction, and what process should be undertaken for them, to gather evidence that will be submitted to law enforcement to be able to criminally prosecute those that have allowed a R1 billion project to remain uninhabited. And Chair, there's one thing that will strike you as glaring when you go there. They haven't even bothered to take telecom signs after 10 years. They're still there. That is the lack of care and duty of care that has been shown to that project. We will also determine the extent and involvement of officials, but also what is the appropriate course of action to go forward, and to recommend to the Minister what should be done or what options are available and on the way forward, as well as recommend any changes to government legislation that could have avoided this taking place. So that process is already underway, and as soon as the service provider has been appointed, they will have 60 days to provide those recommendations, not 6 years or not 6 months, but they will provide a report to my office in 60 days, which will then be shared with the people of this country, because it's their money and they deserve to know what happened. So we really do take these issues seriously. And I just want to say, if I quickly can, that I welcome Honourable Reddy's highlighting to reconsider the way in which we do public projects. The current model already that is envisaged or executed by PMT and IDT is not good. That much is obvious. And IDT is particularly problematic. In fact, they had asked for a bailout of 250 million rand, which I have, because it cannot be that you have 9 billion rand of assets and yet you cannot generate any income. Honourable Mklangu, you really make some good points around telecom towers. Honourable Garment, you're absolutely right about contract and performance management. It is a glaring fact that needs to be done, and also blacklisting. And I will ask the department to produce that policy on blacklisting for non-performance contractors. But I must say this, Chair, and I must come back to this point. This department is technically bankrupt. Unless people start paying us, we are financially insolvent. It cannot be that you are a client, and with respect to the FDA, they owe 2 billion rand for client services. Correctional Services owes 4.7 billion rand. Defence Department owes 5 billion rand. The Department of Justice and Constitutional Development owes 465 million rand. Members in the executive today owe 330,000 rand. Former members of Parliament owe 1.9 million rand. Current members of Parliament owe 5.6 million. We are not a piggy bank. We are not a piggy bank for client departments and people who use our facilities. And we will start implementing measures to recover that money, including evictions. And I hope none of you are saying we will start to evict people from government houses. But on the one hand, Chair, this committee should deliberate on client departments and where I come from. Client is someone who pays you. Someone who doesn't pay you is called a debtor. So when we start calling people client departments, they're debtors, they owe money. I would ask the committee to deliberate on the financial model and sustainability of this department, because we cannot exist when 14 billion rand of money is owed to us. We pay 6 billion rand in leases every year. Private leases, we pay 6 billion rand. And yet we do not recover that money. The Auditor General will audit us on not collecting money. People who owe us money are not audited on that point. It's not fair. So we ask for the assistance of the portfolio committee to call in these clients, or get the departments, however you want to call them, and also to call in members of the executive and members of Parliament and ask them why they are not paying what is due to us. Thank you very much. I'll hand over to the DG and others.
Before you proceed, DG, as a board, with the issue of debts, the client's department are saying we can't pay you because you don't do anything. You must start. The previous meeting I said, let's start with correctional services and see how the approach would be like. Let's evacuate prisons. This is our building. Let's take them away and see where we'll take them. Village work. But it's fine. I'm saying this because there are few chairpersons of different committees when it was brought to me that I tried to speak to. The response that comes back is issue of PMT maintenance of different buildings. The buildings are dilapidating, everything is not in order. But we have not done our oversight. Well, I'm not saying it's correct. I'm just giving you a quick response. Or let's have a look on that. The current members, you developed a policy. Even myself, when I'm allocated a house, I find a contract. The money is deducted from my salary. Therefore, we are thinking even the executive must be saying, because a lot of debt is sitting with yourself as executive. And that contract, you need to take it to executives. We have seen an article of executives who are were not able when they did their analysis. Therefore, you must have that contract. It means we want to assist you with talking to the current executives seated. We'll try to have a session. They must sign those contracts. You can't vandalize the state property because the president is prerogative, by the way. So I wanted to give you that quick response. But with all members, I have a question. I think Spande will also respond to that. How are you building your bills? Is it reversal or fast forward? I don't know. You have members who are no longer. Yes, they are not members of parliament, but they are owing something like 300, 200, and I was asking specifically for which month, because they are no longer occupying those houses. Even yourself, you must keep your because I feel like it's not fair. And with those months, it's because they were no longer members of parliament, and how will they pay that money? But when they were still, yes, we'll have to follow up. I've looked into that and I've visited it. I was planning, and as a committee, we said, name and shame them. But before you name and shame them, let's call them individual and even individual department. We're going to allow you to release it even on paper or TV to say, these are members who don't want to pay. We'll name and shame them, but do it thorough. We must not name and shame those who are not supposed to be named. Thank you. You may proceed.
Thank you. So the 30 billion rand, the municipal service charge, work already done, and yet people still want us to keep doing maintenance, even though they owe us money for municipal services charge. We also notice they haven't released that list, because we will follow due process, and that's why we requested the assistance of the committee, but over to you,
Chair, I thought I would be the last one to speak on public works, but the chair said Mrs. Wanda will speak, but I'll try to obviously write on what the minister has already said. Yeah, Chair, I really appreciate the questions, and I'll actually write on the previous portfolio committee meeting that we had, which the committee has already committed to do certain things that are going to look at resolving our problems. Maybe let me indicate the following in terms of what Mr. Kama said. He said the tone at the top must be clear, it must be set up and clear. I do think that even the portfolio committee set the tone, it's clear that it wants this needs to be resolved. And the minister also is very clear in respect of what needs to be done. I do want to indicate that there are certain things that I might have to say, which is not necessarily to defend anyone or to harm anyone. The first part, Chair, that must be clear to South Africans and also those who are listening to us as government officials. The biggest challenge that we have, all these budgets we're talking about, we don't see improvements. That's the first part. We beg for money year in, year out to get things done. And that's the challenge that is very much, if you like, political, that must be dealt with by Parliament. And the issue of, as an example, I'll just touch the issue of Telkom towers. I heard members talk about buying and leasing it back. Public Works does not have a fund management fund just to buy buildings for clients. We actually recharge clients to pay us what we call accommodation charges, because in terms of the current arrangement, we are the custodian of government property. So the issue of Telkom towers as a solution, we gave it to the client to say, this is how it's going to be purchased.
because it was coming from an SOE, which is a government institution, there was a lot of involvement of other stakeholders. And then the issue of Salva Chair, something back towards the back, from the back towards the front. The solution for Salva and other projects that are going to come was to really ensure that government does not move away from Pretoria. It doesn't move away from Pretoria Central. So the development of Salva was going to address a lot of leases that are private that you are having currently with many departments that you are having. Thereby then building what we call buildings that are now going to accommodate, because over the years, Chair, the client departments have been increasing in terms of staff and numbers. All what has been happening, they've been leasing more buildings to do so. So because government has got land that is in Salva, then the proposal was then created to look at this portion to actually assist us in respect of that. As the members will be going there shortly, you will see that already when you go, you find one client that's already there. When we collapse the list, now we are busy with actually getting the list resolved finally, because there are issues when they left. State estate, for instance, they've got a brand new building that was procured through the Triple P arrangement, to which all the other buildings in South Africa will follow the same thing. I think, Chair, that is basically the whole understanding around the issue of South Africa. I just want to also indicate that what Honorable Kwena really says, I think it borders to what really should be understood by all of us. We must understand why we are all here. I think literally saying, as the officials, we need to do what we are supposed to do. Let me just respond in terms of the issue of the regulating of the industry. We do appreciate, Chair, that there's always a complaint about over-regulation, but I just want to indicate as public works, we do appreciate the recent incident that has happened, where people die in buildings and where we have nothing to do because our hands are tied. I think part of the recent, if you like, engagements or consultations that we are busy doing is the issue of the CIDP Amendment Act, Honorable Kwena, where we are saying, while CIDP was only concentrated on government-related kind of infrastructure, this act once approved, or this amendment once approved, no private player, it doesn't matter, Speak and Pay or whoever, they will be subjected to ensure that their contractors that they use, they are actually compliant with CIDP Act. That is basically what is actually the issue of trying to look at regulating that. The other issue maybe I want to also indicate, maybe to try and manage the expectations much better. Let me apologize, Chair, in respect of the issue of the report not being sent to the members in time. It's highly regretted, and there's no explanation to give there except to say it's poor management and poor leadership from our side. We take that, and I think with the toll that has been said, I think we're going to be dealing with that very much so. And going to Chair, Honorable President Brady, he has really indicated what I think we always have been saying. One clean audit does not have development outcomes, it's useless. So ours needs to be able to then have activities on the ground that are visible and that can be taken into the people of this country to see what we are doing. And I think we really take the point, Honorable President, to say we must stop excuses. We'll try by all means, if you don't know our reports, to not put excuses and rather put plans in terms of what is required. The issue raised by Honorable Kobe, we really take that. I think it's a point for us to learn. The common thread or the culprit in this whole thing, where everything is wrong, I think it's public works. We take that, we agree, and I believe that with the other things that we've raised with the committee, once resolved, the devil, as you said, is in the detail, and that devil will come out and will be thrown out of the window. So said Mr. Kama. I think part of that will be to really get these issues addressed as soon as possible. And then the last one, which I want to maybe highlight, which was raised by Honorable Bath, is the issue of PMTE, or let me just say public works. What are we doing to get capable contractors in the system? Chair, let me say this, that the department, I believe, if not the only one, we are the most dedicated department, generally speaking, because we are dealing with the money. Every time we put a tender up, we try to keep as far as possible within the prescriptions of our regulations. And we always want to eliminate chance takers in whatever that we do. We do all what we can. But unfortunately, to a certain extent, Chair, there are regulations in this country that we don't have control over, that will then have to be dealt with by judges in some instances where they found us wrong to have actually, for instance, put, as an example, a requirement that other people will see it as discrimination in terms of selection. So I think maybe the model that might actually deal with the public procurement sort of bill has got to address it. I think we've tried to make our input and share in terms of infrastructure. And then the issue, Honorable, between SAPS and DGWI, I must indicate we've got a very good relationship with them. And I do believe that that relationship can only be improved, especially myself and the National Commissioner, we communicate quite a lot. And I just want to also indicate that sometimes we want to meet, we can meet. Appreciating the National Commissioner is extremely busy. People are there left, right, and center, and it's going with the minister. He was supposed to be here, and I believe there's something very important that he wanted to address. I think we will be able to improve on it. Maybe to say, are we afraid of our staff or are we afraid of our regions? I don't think so, Chair. As a department, it's just that maybe when the committee gets another time, we will give a report to the committee of what is actually being done for non-compliance, specifically in terms of those that have not done what they're supposed to do. And I do believe that, we try and do our best. I will just cite a very strange example. I'm not going to put names as an example. There is a person that we fired as an example on the basis that they conducted corruption. Literally. But as we fight these fights, the court says, or the department of communities or council, this person must come back to public works. Now, the logic provides maybe the minister will be one to defend it, and part to defend that the need man to do so. Now, these are things that are very difficult to manage because in most cases people have got rights. While they've got rights, but sometimes when they do wrong things, you might say that without really putting anybody to say when you don't want something, you get rid of it. But sometimes in government it's very difficult to do so. Those are all the issues that we're actually faced with going forward. Maybe in respect of the 56% of the project not being completed, as raised by Mr. Mokwena, the Honorable Mokwena, I think that needs some scrutiny. There's quite a lot of things that are in the detail, which I think we will try by all means as we move with this committee in this administration to move up and actually give more information. And I'm very glad, Chair, that you attended the Best Business School or the Best Construction and Engineering, where you got motivated and given, if you like, some level of appreciating how we can actually make us accountable. And part of that is capacity building, even on ourselves, to actually get our people that are running the projects to be registered as professionals. We do appreciate that we are the custodian of the registering bodies, for instance, SSCP, under SSCP CMP, which is under CBE. Chair, there is a challenge, I must indicate, to get people registered and professionalized. The process is very thorough. The process is very difficult, and we are not able to get people to be registered faster.
The sad part is, even if we've done so for people that have registered, immediately as soon as that person is registered, we've been paying a bursary for the person at university, etc. As soon as they can register, SAPO gives them a package of a DG because they're registered. Then they leave the department. So what I'm trying to say, the issue of retaining the skills, we've always been involved in that. It's still like a future exercise, which I think as we move, obviously, with the National School of Government and Professor Day, there's quite a lot of us to discuss with DPSA around keeping these skill skills in the department. Maybe let me allow Mrs. Spider to touch base on the few that I might have left. And Chair, I think it's not the last time that we are talking. We will be actually responding as we move going forward. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, from my side, there are just a few issues that we want to try to throw in as part of our turnaround when going forward. One is that we are working to support the DG in terms of engaging departments who are currently owing us money. There are meetings set up as per the previous portfolio committee resolution. Because currently, Chair, what we've discovered is that the appropriation given to departments to allocate it to public works, it always reduces drastically. And for us, we need Treasury to also come on board. By the time we come to the portfolio committee, we should have engaged Treasury already around those issues as to why the appropriation differs from the allocation given to public works from their departments. And that is where some of the basis of the challenges we are currently having. Second, in terms of addressing some of the glaring challenges on infrastructure rollout, we are the only departments that roll out infrastructure without project management units. And what we have done, the DG has given us instruction to look in terms of engineering that part by ensuring that it's part of our business processes, and it also augmenting the support and the capacity of the regions across the country. So that is the second part. The other one is in terms of contract management. We are also looking into establishing a unit that will ensure that we oversee our contract management processes to make sure that all these contracts that we have are valid and we don't have repetitive offenders having to be reappointed to do other work in other parts of the country where they have failed. Chair, we're looking at the research side. There's a prop tech solution that we're looking at to ensure that we are moving towards digitalization. There's a steering committee that reached with the instruction of with the pronouncement of the minister that can ensure that because chaos of course breeds corruption. And once you begin now to digitalize some of the processes, you will then begin to improve accountability, and then you will see a drastic improvement on our audit outcomes as well. Because that is where we are looking. We are kind of calm because most of the things we do are mainly manual, and we've got a lot of accruals that cannot be well traced to their origins, and that for itself creates some of the repetitive findings by the age that we are currently working on. Chair, we are improving our relationship with our biggest clients, in particular the SAPF. I think in relation to their current situation, Chair, we will be setting up a meeting before Monday and have a virtual with the team to look at the current state of the issues that they're facing, including their current temporary accommodation for the head office. And where we feel that it may be on our part we've done wrong, we must apologize and fix it. I think we'll do that, but where they've also done the same, we will work together to find a solution without us having to go into fingers at each other. We are working under one government, and then we are not competitive. We are not actually chasing anything. And that, Chair, you also look in relation to the services and how we bill our data and clients. There are services that are rendered to the various portfolios within the Prestige portfolio under the Prestige unit. The billing for members of parliament is based on the agreement for the occupation with clear record. They don't sign stop order statements are issued on monthly basis. However, some of these statements that are issued by municipalities at times there are estimates which then cause some issues with members of parliament. And the remaining challenge that municipalities need to address, they don't do real-time metering. And that at times overstated, as you have stated, Chair. In other areas, the member will leave the facility, but you will find that the bill is still accumulating. And that bill remains in the members' debt. That was also currently investigating, Chair. And the Chair, I'm not sure, because the DG and the Minister have covered a lot. I don't want to repeat myself. Yes.
Let's allow AG to respond, but while they are responding, we don't have to respond DG with your team. And PMT, you speak, even the Minister, you speak about digitalization and the system you want to do away with it. But in the presentation, I think it was done by us. You've done that before. When you come to the people appointed to bring in your software into the system, it has never been implemented, and money is lost. Why now do you think it's going to work? What's your plan? But don't respond now, just say you've noted that. You have, whatever that you are responding, you have this program. You have presented it, you presented 2 service providers. There is, we saw them, and money was spent. Now what makes you are sure what you are saying, you've been saying it can be implemented, it will be good, and it means you have reached the limits that this thing can work, but you've done it before. It did not work. AG.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. And almost every Auditor General, I'll assist with the questions that were directed to us. But maybe before I...
People want to see.
Yes. Good afternoon, Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Minister, Honorable Members. So this is me in person. Okay, so I just wanted to provide context on infrastructure insights that we presented on the slides. So you will see, and we've seen from the capacity building slides that included in the slides that we provide on the audit outcome, we also include insights that we package for the sector, meaning the national department and all the provincial department of public works, including its agencies, which is IDT and PMTE, who are responsible for infrastructure delivery and maintenance in the country. So the context is all of those insights on delayed projects, on cancelled projects, is at a country level. But what is missing in the current presentation is the exact examples and findings that are leading to PMTE and IDT because we have not finalized those audits. So once we have finalized, we'll then come back with the other additional insights. So I just wanted to provide that context. And the reason why we provide such insights is because for South Africa to become a construction site, it means it will take not only the national department with its public entities, which is IDT and PMTE, CIDB, but it will take all the provinces because they have the same problems. So there's significantly delayed projects everywhere. There's dilapidated projects almost everywhere. So the problems that we've been picking up on infrastructure are the same across. And it is therefore important that we package these insights also for the minister so that when he engages with MINMEC, with his colleagues from the provinces, they can find solutions to deal with these problems. So I just wanted to clarify that. So from the questions that were raised, they were mainly directed to the department, which the minister and the DG and the head of PMTE have dealt with. But there were think two questions from Honorable Mahlangu that were directed to us in relation to the 13.4 billion that is owned by client departments. You asked, from a consequence management, are there other things that can be enforced on our side? So I just want to clarify our role as well as an audit office. Over and above, also the other initiatives that we've agreed with the department that we are going to do. So from a PFMA point of view, this department and PMTE, where usually these client department issues are sitting, is required by PFMA to collect all monies due. So we always assess that. That is why the minister will say it's not fair, because we make sure that we assess whether they are recovering all the monies that are due to them. But in the same prescripts of PFMA, the other user departments are required by the same PFMA to make payments within 30 days, which is also part of the requirement of the Act. But the Honorable Chairman is right to say there's context that might be affecting the user departments to make payments within 30 days. But we have made our commitment. So there's context of making sure that the services that the client departments are receiving is satisfactory, that they don't sit with challenges of dilapidated buildings, of broken lifts, and all of those things that make them to dispute and not want to pay. So that is the first context. But then the other context, which is very crucial for us, so that we can also partner with the other auditors of the big departments that we mentioned by the Honorable Minister, is for credible financial statement of PMTE to be made available with that balance timely, in the same time that the other user department are submitting their financial statements, so that when we receive them on the 31st of May, we can exchange with the other auditors and make sure that everybody is auditing these figures. Then they are able to compare to what is sitting on PMTE. But if Justice has provided the financial statement on the 31st of May, and for example, in this current year when we had the SAGE issue, we don't currently sit with the financial statement of PMTE. The Justice team cannot compare what is disclosed on their side to PMTE because those financial statements are not present as yet. But what is more crucial is that whatever the balance is there is credible, which goes back to cleaning it up and clearing all the disputes between PMTE and those user departments. I think that is, okay, there was one other question from the honorable member related to telecom towers to say, is there an available report that we have done as Auditor General? Not yet, but you will have seen from the insights that we packaged for you for capacity building that when we were reflecting on the material irregularities that we issued on PMTE, which is currently not reflected on today's slides because of the same reasons that we have noted. So we did identify the telecom tower issue as a material irregularity, which we raised late last year. And then following the regulation, there was time that the DG was given to respond to that material irregularity, which we evaluated the response, and we are continuing to keep both the DG and the minister in terms of the progress of that material irregularity. So when we received the response, we were not happy with the current response, and in line with our regulation, we have to escalate to other steps, which we will reflect on that when we have signed the audit report, because this material irregularity will be contained in the PMTE audit report. Then once that is finalized, the further steps that we are taking now will be reflected in that report, and once we are invited by the portfolio committee, we can clarify where we are and how the PMTE leadership is then responding to that. Thank you very much. Check.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you.
say that when Stefan was presentation, he was presenting the slide that was showing that this is what we bought, and this is what is there. I asked myself, where was that taken? Because it looks like the picture taken when the building was just completed. But that is really, I fully support the call which was initially made by ministers then and what Minister McPherson have said here that telecom towers is a project that went wrong and we need to get to the bottom of what happened. Which we will support that and we will from the ministry ensure that meeting that is being suggested by Minister McPherson takes place, because we also have resolved that we need to meet with him on this and other issues that has to do with us. There are a lot of facilities that goes. One of them that is always in my mind is the software accommodation for such members, which is not in a good state. The lift there is, I think, where the lift used to be, there is no lift. The apology, the role that Mr. Span was saying they might have done, they want to apologize for that. But he also says we must also apologize for the wrong that we've done. I said, but why must he always drag us into his situation? When explain difficulties that he has already observed. I don't think that is the way to go. Explain your situation because it was taking me back to the presentation of Dr. Towers, which was problematic. But I would not want to go into that space. But I think from our side, we welcome any intervention which will make sure that things get resolved. I was asking the acting DMC about the CSI building. It has IR building, which they said is available and we are not taking up that building. I said, where is this building? They said, no, the certificates are not there. And Minister would want this building to be given to us. So that we should go there. But it doesn't seem like the building is ready, that we can go there and walk in now. But the way it is presented there, it's like this building, if we give this meeting, you can walk into that building, which is substance refusing to move in. It's like we are a delinquent organization, which you are not, and we should not be treated as such, because we are not. There are challenges around the telecom towers, they must be dealt with. We support the initiative of Minister McPherson. We would like to ensure that that happens so that we understand what really happened. And those responsible must account. Let me allow through you, Chair, the TTNC, what to and the team to talk some of the issues that were raised. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Chairperson. I don't know, Chair, we were not given an opportunity to present like public works, it's like they want ground advantage. I was just asked to give high level. So if we give an opportunity, maybe most of the questions would have been answered by our presentation. But what I'm going to say now, Chair, I'm going to say in the greatest respect that it's like we are in the department that does not want to accept its shortcomings, especially when it comes to its mandate. Seeing that presentation, it's like fingers have been pointed towards it. Yes, I'm not saying we have a perfect department as such. We also have our own shortcomings as far as family is concerned. And we know our shortcomings and we are working towards addressing those shortcomings. So if the department is not going to accept that, I don't think there will be a way of them, rectifying those shortcomings. I just want to say this, Chairperson. There were a few questions that were asked. There's a few questions shared by yourself to say, and why, when the kids were handed over to us, why didn't we take care of the security? When the keys were handed over to us, Chair, the building was not officially handed over to the police. We're giving the keys because we wanted to do some cabling, else the Department of Public Works were also busy with the repairs and the renovations, because we wanted the two projects to run concurrently so that when they are done with repairs and renovations, we are done with the cabling, and so that we can immediately occupy the building. The security was still the responsibility of the Department of Public Works. We only took over the security in 2021 when the building was officially handed over to the police. So it was still the responsibility of the Department of Public Works to take care of the security. Whatever theft or whatever happened in that building, it was still the security of the Department of the Public Works. And we cannot occupy the building if we do not have an occupational certificate. As we are speaking now, Chairperson, the one building that was given to us, we don't have an occupational certificate. It was given to us, it was withdrawn, and on top of that, there was a prohibition notice that was issued by the Department of Labor. So we do not have any occupational certificate to accommodate the Telecom Tower North. And when I presented, Chair, I was saying there were 10 buildings, we are not 29 buildings. Out of the 9 buildings, only one building that we're talking about. The 8 buildings, maybe Public Works can indicate what is happening. Because even with those 8 other remaining buildings, we don't have any occupational certificate. So, Chair, I just want to add there and request General Fund to talk more on the CSIR building, but I also want to add on what the DMS indicated that we will cooperate with the forensic investigation, and we do have all the necessary documents and everything, so we'll be able to support, and we are looking forward to the outcome of that. I'm sure it will actually bring closure to this matter, Chairperson, and I will also give the message to my National Commissioner in terms of the meeting that must take place between himself as well as the DG. So, General, can you talk about the issue of this case?
General, those who are dealing with facilities, taken advantage. As you were saying, one of the residential area, how many police stations that's DPWI is supposed to finish project and finish? You might not have a detail, but touch on make it a point, then not say the thing. Even though it's not, I'm just giving you an example, even though it's not police stations, but we need to be on residential area. Everything that they are responsible for. Touch base on that. We might have been limited enough to apologize. We were limited with towers, but there is a lot that they must provide to touch on that.
Good afternoon, Chair, Minister, Deputy Minister, honorable members, colleagues. Thanks, Chair. Just want to first take the fundamentals out of the way and what the duties and responsibilities of an accounting officer is. Telkom Towers is promoted. CSR was recommended as an alternative accommodation for us while Telkom Towers is being renovated. It is National Commissioner's responsibility to ensure, among others, that we have correct accounting in terms of what will be spent on temporary accommodation, how long will that be spent, and what will happen with the expenditure should that temporary accommodation become a permanent accommodation for themselves. And in order for him to be sure and certain that he has done his responsibility as an accounting officer, he wanted us to quantify those. But that said, we did respond to articles that we will occupy CSR, and then they came later with another proposal on CSR. So move from building A to building B, and that necessitates the accounting officer to reapply his money, making sure that he's not signing a blank check with a financial responsibility that he may not be able to account for. And that's where we are, that he will respond shortly, probably today or in the next, tomorrow or next week. I just wanted us to make sure that we understand. And the reason why we needed to exercise that responsibility was because we have not been provided with a date as to when we will be out of CSR. That would mean then that we would have CSR, we would have to spend more money which have not been quantified yet, and which will become a problem later if we're not taking that responsibility seriously. But that said, in terms of the whole construction portfolio, we are having 5 critical police stations that have not been completed as yet. And these police stations have been in construction, some of them started way back in the 90s. Mankweng is one of them. In 2014, Mankweng started. In 2014, yeah. In 2014, we got Mankweng, we got Pabro, we got Odendal, and there's other 2. And 1. So those are the 5 police stations. Chair, those ones, Chair, the biggest challenge that we've got is that they are the main police stations that are supposed to assist us with fighting crime. Mankweng, the special development in that environment has progressed so far that the contract at London site again there, and now that place has been finalized. The condition system and other necessary accessories were were installed and there is none currently. So we really now have to start from scratch. We also look at the structural integrity if we were to start the project again. And policing in that environment is a problem because we do not have holding cells. The CSC is basically the child office is what? 3 meter by 3 meter. It's so small. There's effectively no effective policing in that environment. Chair, may I indicate that the challenge with that is that we have issues of zamazamas in that environment. We have issues of a town that used to be a highly economic and productive town, but with the closing down and scaling down production in that environment, crime is high. So we need to have a police station built and completed to our citizens. When we go to National Treasury and ask for money for policing, one of the things that made us to be in deficit is because we spend a lot of time transporting these perpetrators of crime from one town to another, and that's huge expense for us. We spend a lot of time with the police, not doing policing, but transporting these people in and out of court. And sometimes the courts are reminded, and therefore, so the indirect financial consequence to South African police service is far more in terms of what is happening in that environment. So policing cannot be effective in an environment where we do not have enough adequate facilities in those environments. We really wish that public works would understand that there is a direct correlation and it is terrible in our space with regards to that. Jay, we have a leasing environment that is a challenge for us also. Not that leasing is wrong. It is necessary for us because we do not have the money to procure outright the properties that we require for effective policing. However, the way that the owners of the properties take advantage of us is something that is worrisome to us. We have a number of these police stations that are in a deplorable condition, and the landlords are not fixing these properties. I must admit that DDG Makubela has made a proposal to us with regards to lease to own, where we're going to identify those police stations that are in good condition, where we're going to lease and own them, so that we get out of this leasing arrangement that we've got. However, until that happens, we still have quite a lot of landlords that are really not party to us. And there are those police stations that are owned by public works that are also in deplorable conditions. If you go to
Sure.
if you go Ladybird, if you go to Ladybird, the police at night use torches and candles to be able to do 24-hour policing, because the program to refurbish the police station is a snail case. Now, the moment when you have a condition like that, where we have to do policing in that, I'm only mentioning one, but there's many of them, where there isn't any agency in terms of making sure that the leases or the properties that you're occupying in South African police service that are owned by government are repaired for us to do effective policing. So we are having a clear understanding of the conditions of those police stations, where we really need to have public works come and partner with us with regards to that. The office accommodation is also one of those challenges. Telecom towers, could have become a solution for us. For those who are Christians, like Jesus was to most of the Christians. I'm a Christian, Chair, if I may put it on record. So I'm only highlighting just a few so that you understand the magnitude of the problem. Let me just come back to what we think could be the reasons why the 5 abandoned stations, among others, are. Public Works needs to go back and relook at how they contract with their professionals. The whole contracting process brings into it elements of not non-effective delivery. For example, in let's take macros, Public Works contract the professionals, and the professionals report to Public Works. Then Public Works contracts DBSA, and DBSA manage the construction side. Now, when there is something that needs to happen on the construction side, the contractor tells DBSA, DBSA tells Public Works then go and tell the professionals. When there's a disagreement between contractor and the professionals, Public Works, so it's a vicious cycle where you at the end of the day having one person that is part of the value chain. So that contracting model is bound to fail. Whereas we have recommended previously that just give the implementing agent the responsibility for both professionals and contractors and hold them accountable for non-delivery of the projects. So these are some changes I hope to we would listen. We just need to have some of these things resolved as much as far as we possibly. But where we have no dependencies with regards to third parties, where it's us and them, I don't understand why we've got challenges. There's another element to it. We are paying accommodation charges. Without fail, we are a department that pays. We are priding ourselves with regards to 99.5% of 30-day payment of invoices as South African councils. None of have taken that responsibility, we are doing that. Anything else that I have forgotten, can we forgive public experience? Thanks, Chair.
No. We're not going to do what we said. You must be spending what you wanted to say. They must do that. I think what we need to ensure our members is that when you construct anything, it must have a beginning and an end. And you will have consistent value. If it's temporary, it will be temporary.
But build a police station like you have Mangwen police station. In 2040, 10 years more, you are still building. You are going to pay a lot. You are going to pay a lot. And I think the proposal should be that maybe we should have an opportunity to meet with yourself, let's say, public works and portfolio committee of policy to look at the police stations, because there is a big problem in our police stations and the places where our officers stay. I think that can happen, so that we come up with a way of handling this individual assistance but you know, project management, construction management, that is the problem. Including the problem is project management. They have to manage a project, and then you see with that product. It's the same principle in any construction environment. If you miss the two, you will have a problem. I must also confirm that I'm aware about the non-standing meeting between the DG and the National Commissioner. There is the donation of the police station that we must receive from the retail coal resources. They wanted to donate. It's almost 24 months that that donation is still outstanding because of the meeting that must take place. They agree on how these things can be handled, because sometimes it doesn't make sense. If someone would want to donate something to you, we just need it to become for that person to donate. We should find a solution on how we can facilitate such things. But the National Commissioner, the DG, will think of that. I believe the DG, because he's like the minister here, they will bring innovative way of how we can deal with the problems this nature. Thank you, Chair, for allowing us to explore and also for giving us extra time on this. We really appreciate that. We don't take it for granted. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, Isa. Even though you are in your own time, I've made it clear the day that we parted ways that you must be part of us from the start of this. Having said, the AG will be giving us a report. Some of what has been said by the AG might lead you guys to report, but you did not make it on time. But I want to take this opportunity and appreciate SAPS. We know we were both with time. We started with us. Most of the time that you have spent, it was about not yourself, but you respected us. You arrived in time and you started with us. We want to appreciate that. But Minister, you must request or find a report of the functional accommodation. We can assist us as a country as public service delivery. The Public Service Commission and they had a roundtable with yourself and different departments. So you need to get that report and try to redesign your way, as you said. There's a need in the department to really be into things differently. So with what has been said by SAPS, if you get that report, will also assist you in some of the safety issues. You know, you said it up front that it's not just one, it's many projects that they are in the same state. Then it goes by again, you get, let's say, one state. And if the end user is not happy, how will they pay? You must pay something that you are satisfied. So we need to up our game as DPWI. If you don't up your game, really, we are not promoting that your credit department must not pay you, but you need to give them a proper service. Police stations, we are agreeing, dear Natalie, we said it even when we started that today, we did not request you to prepare and give us the whole report because we still want to have a meeting. After we have made our own oversight, then we're going to call yourself, and in that report, do give us a list of projects, be it police station, residential areas, that were supposed to be done or be completed by DPWI, and if they are not completed, you must bring that report. And we see how best can we assist with our recommendation and how we can stretch ourselves together with both of them to resolve a number of issues. And I think as much as we are still new minister, it means the room is still sweeping so nicely and fresh. We are going to make it happen. That we destroy this legacy culture. It's a bad culture. That is something that is very bad. Let's change it. And we believe ISA is going to assist you with its design. Maybe it will deal with the vicious side of the issue as well. Because it's correct. If you have this one must have gone to this one must have, and it takes a long time, then it prolongs the project. Let's try to cut corners by the law. We must follow the processes, the right process. Why should you always find these different economic agencies? And that will be discussion for the other day. We don't want to entertain that now, but bear in mind, we have a knowledge that even this second, it's prolonging everything, and it does not give South Africans what they're supposed to be given. But then I want to take this opportunity and say, for this session, we are done. I'm going to allow, we are not closing because we are still going for an oversight. I'm going to call on in order to give us line of march what's going to happen from now. Then we'll take it from there. And we are appealing and calling on everybody who is here to join us. But for the other pressing responsibilities that must attest to, feel free to do that, but we must know. Telecom towers, SAPS, GWI, in particular PMTE, you must be part of this. The reason why we are emphasizing on this is that you are now starting to deal with a project or major project, private project of the country. You must draw lessons and avoid what is happening there and try to design and do things that will be implementable within a specific time. So we want to employ you to join us in all, and also the issue of Sapa. You are part of it. We wanted to put it, but we'll put it on the side. No.
Here the delegation will move right across the bridge to the other side of the building, second floor, just to have lunch. We would like to request the members of parliament, the executive authority, as well as the accounting officer to go through first and the rest of us. After that, the delegation will move then to Telecom Towers at 2 o'clock, ready from the should be moving out of the building towards the Telecom Towers. I'm told that the security as well as the acting DG facilities management will lead the delegation to will remind the management of the PWI. I think that's as well. From there, the chairperson will move to the South government residence. When the is done with the site visits, we will then proceed directly to the IDT for our next engagement. We will find a briefing on the annual report of the entity. Thank
And lastly, you were supposed to give us the reasons why you did not submit in time, but it's fine. you give us the exchange because the AG says it's yourself an IDT. That's why we're going to IDT. We want to understand what's happening. But we get that. And we are welcome. Let's go to here. You understand what's happening? No, we're saying let's go together.
Yeah.